All right, we're at part 2, and here I am back in the bottom. Remember, we're going to focus now on the content browser. Okay, this is the meat of the course, and this is where we're going to have a lot of stuff. I'm about to click on course information, start here, and before we do that, I'll remind you, well, you can still see me in the bottom, that in the orientation session, I gave you this assignment checklist, and also the course syllabus, information, all that stuff. Those are just 2 of the documents you'll find there in the course information. Okay, and all right, let's go there. Course information, start here, right? So this is like a folder, and you'll notice that there's an office hours type deal, and that's going to be sort of just a chat room where we can leave notes for each other, and other people can look and see if you asked a question that they wanted the answer to, etc., etc. The welcome letter, that's what I sent you in the email before the semester started. The course syllabus, I just waved that at you. And importantly, the activity checklist and course schedule is there. And there's also the official course outline. I'm not going to click on that now, but that's what's registered with the school and provided to other schools when you say you took this class. And by the way, BioSci 172 is an IGETC Area 5 lecture class, so congratulations. And this course outline helped make that happen. All right, so how do we get back to other information? Notice that in this content browser, there are these little breadcrumbs. And in this case, they both say home, so you just click one of those, and look, we're back to this home area, okay? Each week, there's going to be a module, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. And let's go ahead and look at module 1, since that's the first week. And this is set up just like all the modules will be for the entire semester. There's a pre-lecture, so stuff you should do before listening to the lecture. Then there's the lecture itself. That's like coming to class. Then you prove that you came to class by handing in stuff for grades, just like normal. And if there are extra files, they'll go here in the supplemental files. So I'm going to go ahead and click on pre-lecture. All right. And you'll notice there's a pre-lecture file and then a lecture guide to download. So let's look at the pre-lecture file first. Okay. And oh, our screen has changed. Check it out. When you click on something that's an actual file, Desire to Learn seems to switch the way it shows you things. That's just the way it is. So this is an HTML file that it's putting inside of this little window here. But off to the left, there's still this content map. See that? There are buttons. You can print from this screen. You can change settings from this screen. You can go to previous screens and next screens. You can play around with that. I'm not going to do that right now. But notice in the pre-lecture, it tells you the due dates, and I work hard on keeping those up to date. Normally they're a Saturday at midnight. This particular first week, I give you through Monday. Certain weeks, I give you some extra days. I tell you what to read before class starts. This week, it's the welcome letter, the course syllabus, the activity checklist. If you want to look at the course outline, that's a good idea. And you're going to want to read the advice from past students. Okay, and where is that? Oh, it's in the supplemental materials. So notice, I'm over here on the left now, that if I unclick these things, I'm clicking on the plus and minus boxes, kind of condenses them. So here's module 1, here's the things inside of module 1. And look, there are supplemental files. And look, there's a file called Advice from Past Students. If I click there, hopefully all goes well, and aha, here's a different file, okay, and it's the Advice from Past Students file. And so somewhere along this week you'll need to read that. I'm not going to read that with you now. But where were we? We were in the pre-lecture, right? So let's go back to the pre-lecture, and we'll click on that. Okay, and then this just says what the pre-lecture will usually contain. And then there's something else here, the lecture guide to download. Okay, so let's click on that and let's see what it is. So this is a PDF file, and it sometimes takes a long time to load because it's a PDF file. This is something you should print. You should download it on your computer so you can either type on it or look at me down here, print the thing out. Because as we go through, you're going to want to take notes. And there are places in here, let me just flip through. Right. And here we go. You can see on here, there are questions, and you can write the answers. If we scroll down in this file, you'll notice that it's the same, and look, there are questions. And how are you going to write the answers if it's here in a web browser? You need a file. And so you should either print out the PDF file, you can try the print button, you can try to download the thing. There's lots of ways to do this, but some way get the file, okay? I really highly encourage that. You're going to do much better in the course if you have some kind of copy of this to take notes on. And you'll hear me say this again in the orientation. But this is the lecture, all right? So that's the pre-lecture, and part of the pre-lecture is to get ready for taking notes. All right, so how do we get to the lecture? Well, I'm going to go over here to this left thing and decondense the pre-lecture. You can just go straight to the lecture guide things area, okay? And there's a Module 1 lecture guide link file, and there's a podcast. And I highly recommend going to these files to listen to the lectures. If you don't like the way this thing is set up or you feel lost, you can always just click up here at the top, okay? And that's going to take you back slowly, okay, to what we hope is the home page. Does that look familiar? Uh-oh, are you feeling lost? Content browser. Notice that we're in the pre-lecture area, right? And you can go back to the Module 1 thing, or you can go back to home. Let's just go back to home to remember what that looks like. Course information, Module 1. Okay, we're in week 1, Module 1. We looked at the pre-lecture. Time for the lecture guide things, right? Ba-doom. All right, there's a lecture guide link file and a podcast. Step 1, click on the Module 1 lecture guide link file. Okay, again, it's its own HTML file. And here you're going to need to click on this large, ugly web link, okay? And it's going to ask you for a login and password. My computer's already logged in, so I'm going to tell you now. The login is BIOSC187, and the password is biology, no space. Whoops, there's a space here, I'll fix that. But biology with no space between the two words. Okay, so when you click on here, it's going to ask you for that login and password, BIOSC187, password biology, and you're going to get this HTML file, and look, it's in a brand new window. See how I have two windows here? One is the D2L window, and the second is this lecture guide. Super important. Notice the due dates are here, the reading is here, and then the outline for the lecture guide itself, right? So this is kind of like what's going to happen if someone was lecturing in person. This is what you'd be looking at, okay? And lots and lots of stuff to look at. Most of this is what I'm going to go through in our first meeting. But let me just demonstrate what a normal lecture would look like. I'm scrolling down here to slide 1. And this is where you're going to hear somebody talk, and you're going to look at the website. Okay? So it looks like, to make these videos shorter, I'm going to go ahead and make a new video starting right here. That'll be part 3 of this introduction. But remember, you've got the lecture guide in one window. You had to use a password to get to that, right? And then in the other window is D2L, Desire to Learn. And we're going to go to another window here, the podcast module. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click that. Okay, right here. And it's loading a podcast. All right, so before that starts playing, we're going to stop this, and start another video. Okay, so we're on to the how to do a lecture video. Right, see you in a sec.